Hi everyone, welcome back to the NFA Review channel. We have another Silencerco product here on the channel today, their Velos LBP 556. I also have the 556K and the 762 version here in stock that I will be reviewing shortly. Before we kick things off, just want to remind you guys, Silencerco will be at Suppress Fest 2024 this October 26th and 27th. Word is their booth is going to be pretty rad. They're bringing a clay pigeon launch machine to shoot suppressed trap out there, as well as shooting some full auto machine guns and of course some pistols. So Silencerco booth is going to be pretty popular. So let's go ahead and dive into the Velos 556 here in the studio, and then of course we'll hit that range and see what it sounds like. Let's get to it. All right, opening the box. This is their older version box. You'll see in the videos that I will be reviewing soon, they have updated everything. Let's see, we have the suppressor itself. We have a closed tine flash hider. And then of course we have their takedown tools, and there's some other stuff in there, like the manual and stuff like that. All right, the Velos comes in at an overall length of 5.98 inches. A diameter of 1.73 inches, and a weight of 15.2 ounces, so right under that 1 pound mark. Now, as far as construction, the center body area here, this is pretty unique. The center body area here between my two fingers, okay, is 3D printed 625 Inconel. And then the front module here and the rear module is welded on in that 17.4 heat treated stainless steel, so you get best of both worlds there. So we will cover the core itself further on in the video. The finish is a V series Cerakote, so this should withstand those higher temperatures, especially when shooting full auto. We'll get to that here in a second. The mount itself is their Charlie ASR mount, so they have their Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie mounting systems. If you guys aren't familiar with the Silencerco mounting systems, this is the Charlie adapter on the rear, and it is to be used with any of the ASR mounts. Caliber, of course, is 5.56 only. This is a caliber specific suppressor. It is full auto rated, it is belt fed rated, and there are no minimum barrel length restrictions. As far as the warranty, it is lifetime. Silencerco is known in the industry to have a really good warranty service program, so that's good to hear. And the retail price comes in at $1,164. Capital Armory, at the filming of this video, has it listed at $1,074. And then my Patreon Gold members can save another 10% off that when shopping with Capital Armory, bringing it to $966, which is coincidentally around a $200 total savings from the retail price, which pretty much eats up your tax stamp. So that's pretty cool to know. Now we got the boring stuff out of the way, let's cover some of the special features. First off, I had to Google what Velos means, and it is the Greek word for arrow. So that's pretty cool. Figured I'd throw that here in the video so you guys knew what it meant. Now, LBP, of course, stands for low back pressure, if you guys don't know that already. And that is a trend that we're seeing here in the industry to provide a better experience for the actual shooter. Not just better for, of course, your hearing, but of course the gas of the face, less carcinogens, etc., etc. I want to start off the special features section here by really driving the point home that this is their hard use suppressor. This is the most durable rifle suppressor Silencerco has ever made. So when you're shopping out there and you need something that's low back pressure and extremely durable, because you're going to beat the piss out of it, the LBP is what you want to look up when you're shopping the Silencerco brand. So we'll get that out there. They have, of course, lighter options, the full titanium stuff, the harvester stuff, you know, the scythe. Those suppressors are more geared towards actually hunting with them, hiking with them over miles and miles through treacherous terrain, where you don't want a 1 pound suppressor hanging on the end of your lightweight hunting rifle. This, however, is for those of you out there like me that like to throw it on the end of a full auto Mark 18 and beat the piss out of it. That is what the Velos is for. So again, low back pressure suppressor, so you're going to get higher numbers out here at the muzzle and better numbers here at the shooter's ear, because you're not going to overpressurize the bore or your gas system, and you're going to have a better shooting experience as the shooter. Now, this does use their patented Hop-On baffle. This baffle has been in use for a little bit, and it is designed not only for the lower back pressure, but to help redirect debris from shooting shorter barrels. So when you shoot a shorter barrel, your gunpowder is not going to have a long enough burn time, and you will get unburnt granules smashing into the face of your blast baffle at 3,000 feet per second. So very high pressure, very high heat will erode the bore aperture of your suppressor, widening it over time, and it could decrease suppression, stuff like that. You could have a baffle collapse or failure. So they designed the geometry face of the Hop-On baffle to prevent that. And I'll show you the close-up that I could get here in the studio, and you can kind of see what that looks like from the front. As far as metering, this is averaging right around 135 to 137 decibels at the muzzle, so you're going to get better numbers at the shooter's ear. As far as let's just start for the front cap. Now, this does have something that's pretty cool, and I'll show you this B-roll here of the reverse side of the flash hider front cap. It is an internal flash hider. Now, you've seen on my channel, typically flash hider front caps will have a couple prongs here at the front acting as a flash suppressor, so you don't get that jetting out of the front of the suppressor. They pretty much did the same thing. They just reversed that with the prongs on the inside of the suppressor, so you don't add to the overall length. It gives it a really nice clean profile, and you can see up close there what it looks like. Now, let's see. Moving to the rear of the suppressor, you'll see the Charlie mount. I'll show you a close-up here of how you would remove that. I'm not going to do it here in the studio for the sake of time, but you'll see you use the two spanners, and it works like any other suppressor on the market to remove it. Now, this is the Charlie ASR mount. This is not hub compatible. This suppressor is not hub compatible. Their Bravo mounts are. Okay, so any Silencerco suppressor with the Bravo system would be 1.375 by 24 thread pitch. The Charlie's a little different. It uses a taper system inside. Speaking of tapers, I'll show you a close-up here of the flash hider itself. You'll see the taper at the top, followed by the large Acme threads, and then of course followed by the spline. Looks like an axle spline around the muzzle device that corresponds with the teeth at the end here. You see on the locking ring. So on the inside of the suppressor, of course, you would have seen the taper surface, then the Acme threads, and then the teeth that lock onto the mount. So you have three surfaces engaging this mount. This is a very popular mounting system. It has been around for quite some time. There is a couple different versions of their mounting devices here that you could get. This just ships with the new closed prongs here, which actually looks pretty slick. So I am a huge fan of the ASR locking system. It's, like I said, it's been around for a while. I really dig it. They also helped us all out, all our smooth brains here watching, myself included. They do have a unlock and a lock icon here on the suppressor, and you can see just how smooth that is. It's quite nice. So yeah, I think you guys get the gist of it. As far as the 3D printing, again, that's the way the industry is leaning here. This is kind of cool. It's kind of like a hybrid version where it's not all just 3D printed. They have a 3D printed midsection here where the baffles are, and then they have the 17.4 heat treated front and rear welded on the end. You can see the welds up close there on the top and bottom of the suppressor. Looking up really close macro shot here on the suppressor body, you can just barely make out that it is 3D printed. Has a pretty thick coating here on that V-Series Cerakote that helps smooth it out. Gives it kind of a leather car seat look, and in person it's actually quite nice. As far as the logo here, or the design on the Velos itself on the suppressor body, I'm not sure if that is supposed to be something, but it looks pretty rad. So I think we covered enough here in the studio. I'm going to grab this Geisley Super Duty 16-inch, very over-gassed gun, so we'll see how this does. And then, of course, my 10.3-inch full auto Mark 18, and we'll go ahead and run it unsuppressed and suppressed and see how it does with the range. let's get to it.
Before we get shooting, a quick word from our sponsor, Capital Armory. They're the nation's largest silencer dealer and have expanded their silencer shipping ability to multiple states, with even more on the way. They can still ship directly to Texas residents, but they can now deliver silencers directly to your door for those in many other states. The process is simple and keeps everything in-house. So there are no additional dealers, transfer fees, or headaches. They manage the entire process from start to finish to make your life easier. The process is very simple. Once you purchase a silencer online through their website, you'll be contacted to begin your online customer profile to provide them with fingerprints and other necessary information to complete your e-file Form 4. After the ATF approves your form, Capital Armory will initiate electronic transfer paperwork with you, and your silencer will be mailed directly to your front door. And the best part is, your customer profile only needs to be done once, so you'll be ready to go for all future orders. Head to capitalarmory.com today to learn more.
Steel's loud. Not gassy at all to me. Shit.
All right, guys, final thoughts on the Velos low back pressure 5.56 full size. Now, full disclosure, when I was filming today, I actually filmed the scenes for the K version of this guy right here. So I was able to compare it side by side. Now I'm gonna withhold that information from you until the next review. So I will be reviewing the K version of this guy next. And then in that review, I'll show some side by side between the full size and the K, which should be pretty cool. But today the full size performed exceptionally well, specifically on the Mark 18. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to tell, I didn't do a lot of full on mag dumps, but you could tell when I was editing, it was not speeding up the bolt more than most suppressors do, should I say. Quite less, actually. It was very noticeable how it didn't affect the cyclic rate of the Mark 18.
And when shooting the 16-inch Geisley, which you guys know, if you've been watching my videos for more than a couple months now, you know that gun is pretty overgassed, and it's gonna be the worst case scenario that I have right now in my collection to show you changes in back pressure to the shooter's face. And it did exceptionally well. I had zero discomfort in my eyes and my nose while shooting. As far as sound profile, very, very low tone for a 5.56 suppressor. You could tell when shooting the Mark 18, it was doing a good job of projecting the sound away from me. And then of course it sounded great on the 16-inch. Now I was shooting in pretty much a grass line quarry, if you want to call it that. It's elevated position, shooting downward. It's kind of like a bowl. And I had targets at, I want to say 25, 50, and 100 yards, all steel. And then of course I was purposely shooting into the dirt, into the grass berm, so you guys weren't hearing that steel impact the whole time. But it did very well. You probably saw, or should I say heard, the foreman there that's doing construction at my buddy's property when I was shooting the unsuppressed Mark 18. Yeah, it was very loud, and guys were 50 yards behind me, and when shooting unsuppressed on the Mark 18, they were like, wow, we can't have that. So of course, shooting with the suppressor, everything changed and it sounded much better, so that's pretty cool. So kind of accidentally illustrated the importance of shooting suppressed. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Again, low gas, sound was good, the profile was good. The mount never came loose the entire time, so that was cool. I mean, the ASR mount is tried and true. Everybody in the industry knows that, so that was to be expected. But yeah, it did really well, as you would expect a new can from Silencerco to perform. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will get to it. And of course, if you want to hear this can in person, it's only a couple weeks away from Suppress Fest 2024. We have a huge vendor lineup this year. It is going to be epic. Silencerco will be bringing a automatic clay thrower for you guys to shoot suppressed skeet out there at their booth, along with their pistols and rifles, machine guns, stuff like that. So their booth's gonna have quite the line, so make sure you get there early. My VIPs, you'll be happy. You won't have to wait in line. And of course, hopefully we see smiles all day up until the end of the day when we do the raffle, when every company in attendance is going to be donating a raffle item at the end of each day, Saturday and Sunday. So that's gonna be pretty rad. And then all those proceeds go to the American Suppressor Association, and they will be there at the event. And of course, that money helps fight for our rights to buy these. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up because YouTube sucks and they hate gun channels. And I'll see you guys next week.